So Chuck, thank you so much for coming in to visit with us. We're excited to have you, and
I'm honored.
thank you very much again. And what we had hoped to do was, all the excitement about the Bowtie Bible had really piqued my interest, as I'm sure it has thousands and thousands of others. But while we had this opportunity to bring you in, I hope you tell us more about the Bowtie Bible, and then I'd really love to learn the proper and correct way to tie a bow tie.
Well, thank you, Johnny, and I may tie that bow tie on you.
Okay.
That may be one of my collection right over here.
Perfect.
I'm honored to do this. I'm excited about doing this. This is sort of my avocation. I've worn bow ties for a very, very long time. Actually scores of years, not just decades. And I had a manufactured rep business back in the 70s and 80s, the late 70s and early 80s. And I called on the very finest of men's clothing stores all through the Midwest, centered around Chicago. Still live down here and just commuted.
Okay.
And spent a lot of time in New York and a lot of time in those stores, and I sold very fine men's clothing, shirts, and neckwear, including bow ties. And I started wearing bow ties because they were more practical, because I was leaning down all the time showing things, and a lot of you don't think about it, but long ties get in the way. Also, they're not very comfortable because they're done with a slip knot, and a slip knot is designed to do one thing. Well, first, they're designed to slip. The second thing is they're designed to hang people with.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And when people touch them all day long to tighten them, they over-tighten them, thinking that, you know, if it got loose, it must not have been tight enough in the first place. And then they loosen it with their hand, and then they tighten it again. If we did a video of a person during the day, they would probably do that 50 or 100 times in a day without even thinking about it. Also, they'd be throwing it over their shoulder for all kinds of activities, tucking it into their shirt for all kinds of activities, holding it aside for all kinds of activities. They'd be touching it constantly. And anybody in the medical profession, anybody in or out of the medical profession would say that most of the harmful bacteria comes not from the things that fall on your tie, but from touching it all day long for all the reasons you have to touch it.
Right.
And the long ties are more expensive, and they don't last as long. They don't travel as well. I can give 8 or 9 good, irrevocable reasons why bow ties are superior to long ties, but I'm not one that wants everybody to wear bow ties, because several of those reasons, 3 of those reasons, are that they make a statement about style and intellect and individualism, and they distinguish you. And if everybody wore bow ties, you wouldn't be as distinguished among other folks.
Right.
And also, when you're wearing a bow tie, women tend to come up to you and compliment you on bow ties.
Oh, very nice.
And you don't see them going around complimenting people who are wearing what everybody else is wearing.
Right.
Those things would go away if everybody was wearing bow ties. But I do believe there's a good many people that when you say, why do you wear a long tie? And they say, because I never learned how to tie a bow tie. Right. They are not really sold on why they should wear a bow tie. A bow tie is more traditional than a long tie. A bow tie predates the long tie. The 4-in-hand tie is what they're called.
Okay.
But the industry wants everybody to wear 4-in-hand ties because they have to be replaced more often. They don't travel well. Right. You can't clean them very easily at all. In fact, it's not a good idea to try to clean them.
I've never tried to.
And they're more expensive, and they make more money by selling those and replace them for folks. And then we'll have to explain to people that there's a better way to do the right thing. It's not wrong to wear a bow tie. In fact, as they read the essential book on bow ties, the Bow Tie Bible, right. After they finish reading it, even if they just skim through it, it's only 84 pages, but it's been edited so many times to get it that way. It was that thick to begin with.
Wow.
And I wanted to be more gift size and be more succinct, because we don't have time to read War and Peace. And,
Right.
we might make time to listen to it while we're driving or running.
Right.
But there's things in here that people do need to know about, and I'm going to hit just a couple of those
Sure. Please
to
do.
save time. First is the general gist of everything I'm about when it comes to bow ties. It says bow ties are not just a fashion option. A bow tie is a lifestyle statement for discerning individualists comfortable in their own skin. In other words, it is a statement. And that's written by the International Bow Tie Society, and I'm the founder of the International Bow Tie Society.
Great.
And this right here is a picture, a sketch of Sir Winston Churchill, who is the patron saint of bow ties. And he always wore a navy blue bow tie with small dots, and he wore it correctly. He never wore it wider than his eye sockets or taller than his eye sockets, because he thought that looked goofy. It looked like a clown. I agree with Sir Winston Churchill. He was a very smart man.
Right.
And he agrees with me.
Hey,
Go figure.
too smart, man.
This is considered to be a fun book. It's a seriously funny guide to how and why to bow tie. And it does have another statement I think that's noteworthy. I'm not going to go through the whole book.
Right.
You purchased this book, did you not?
I did.
Did you? Very good. It says, when I was 4 years old, they tried to test my IQ. They showed me a picture of 3 oranges and a pear. They asked me which one was different and does not belong. They taught me that different was wrong. That's something to think about. And through the 10 Commandments, the first one is, thou shalt never wear a pre-tied or clip-on bow tie. I think that causes a lot of people to dislike the way bow ties look, and they don't know why they dislike them. Because all they've ever seen is a pre-tied bow tie,
Right.
which is too neat. It doesn't look like a quality item. It looks like a fake. It is a fake.
Right.
It's not a tie. It's not tied. You know, that's the word in there. And oftentimes it's too big for their face. It's incongruent for their face. So they look funny. You see sometimes celebrities wearing bow ties on television. You say, gosh, he looks weird. And then when you see somebody in a bow tie and they're the only person in the room in a bow tie, and they look like they're really proud, they might get a few compliments, but the tone of those compliments is completely different. You say, hey, nice bow tie. That is not a compliment. But when somebody very astute comes up to you and say, hey, you really look good in a bow tie, like they're surprised,
Right.
that's because you're wearing the bow tie correctly, properly.
Okay.
It's congruent with your face. And then oftentimes they say, I wish I knew how to tie a bow tie. I wish I could wear a bow tie like that.
Right.
Or they'd say, because I'm too short, or I'm too fat, or I'm too whatever. And I point out that Sir Winston Churchill was 5'6" and weighed 250 pounds, and he always looked great in a bow tie.
Absolutely, that picture looks great.
Okay, this is a wonderful read, and it has everything you'd ever want to know, and everything certainly you needed to know about bow ties,
And we're
how to
afraid to
wear
ask?
them. Well, no, you were afraid whom to ask.
Right.
And it even talks about how to tie a bow tie. First of all, I think it's wise to buy the right size bow tie, and also to get it to be the right size for your neck. I am a 15.5 neck, and you notice I marked this on size 14 because I tied it with 15.5 on there, and it went out beyond my ears.
Wow,
and it just looked goofy.
Okay.
And I wanted, and so I measure all my other bow ties. Just let them hit by this one, and they're all essentially the same lengths. And
Okay.
these are all I have hundreds of bow ties, Here's a Blenheim that Sir Winston Churchill wears, and they're all the same length for my neck and my size jaw and so forth.
So you went down like an inch or more?
Inch and a half, yeah. Your eye sockets, I can tell, are about 2 1/4 inches tall. Okay. Yeah, I measure them all the time. Okay.
Okay.
Now this is a 1 3/4 inch bow tie, and you say, well, that's too small. But the fact is, when you put it on, you'll splay it. I'll demonstrate that here in a minute, how to splay it. Now I'm going to tie this on you, and I'm going to talk about it. And as I do that, first of all, put your collar up and button your collar. Okay. Okay. Now what you do when you're tying a bow tie is you start with it just comfortably around your neck, and then make one end slightly longer than the other, and then the one that's slightly longer is your front, and this is the back. These are the tails. You have tails and loops. That's a loop. That's a tail. Okay. Now you cross them this way, and you have the long one is the one you go around with. Now the reason you had it longer is because now that you have them both, look, they're exactly even. You see? At that point you still have a front, and it's still the front, and you still have the back. Now the back, it's not so tricky. You just simply turn that into a bow. Okay? Now I can see from this, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you, but not much, because even a 1/4 inch makes a big difference. Okay, a little longer, going back, doing that. Okay, make it comfortable, because however way you tie it, it's going to stay that same comfort level. It's not a slip knot. It's like tying your shoes. You wouldn't tie your shoes with a slip knot, and you wouldn't tie them too tight and then complain about them being too tight all day long. You tie them so they're comfortable all day long. People complain all the time about their long ties being uncomfortable, don't they?
Yeah.
And they hate them, and it's killing the fact that, you know, a lot of people don't want to buy it. Do I have to wear a tie? Okay. Okay, you come across right here, and that is your bow, and then the long one goes over. And you've got your finger in a hole. Follow that finger through that hole. Okay? At that point, you have got a bow tie tied. And now, when you tie a bow tie and you tighten it, you work with it until you tighten it, then make sure it's not too neat, because then it looks pre-tied, and a pre-tied bow tie just won't do. Because once you learn it, you don't have to ever think about it. In fact, you shouldn't have to think about it. If you think about tying your shoes when you tie your shoes, you can get confused. But nobody ever thinks about tying their shoes. Right. It's the same bow exactly, if it were tied properly, as the bow tie. Well, only you work with the bow tie, so the tail and the tail and the loop are about the same. Okay. But they don't have to be exactly the same, you see. But you should have a little bit of a splay. This is splaying. You splay cards. That's what it means by splay. And this is called scrunching. And then you splay, you see, and then you have a bow tie that is congruent with your face and flattering to your face.
How many bow ties do you have?
I have no way of keeping count, because I give them away to people.
Right.
I've got over 100 at any time.
Right.
Well over 100. I may have 150. But bow ties last a lot longer than long ties. Unfortunately, they're a little bit easier to lose, because I tuck them in pockets. They travel very, very well. If I can't find a tie that I'm looking for, then I'll just go to all my coats and find them in pockets.
I've done that as well.
I'll go to the glove box in my car and find it full of ties also. I'll go over to my son's house, because when he's over visiting, he might get sticky fingers.
Sure.
You see?
Yeah.
Or I remember, oh, I gave that to somebody
Right.
because they did something nice for me and they were wearing a long tie and they couldn't give me a good reason why they were wearing a long tie.